Before your plastic bottle touches the ocean, it's already poisoned the land. Before your straw hits the trash, it's already polluted the air. Because plastic doesn't start at the store. It starts in the ground with oil, gas, and toxic fumes. And by the time it becomes something you can touch, it's already left behind a trail of destruction. When we talk about plastic pollution, we think of the ocean, turtles tangled in bags, bottles floating in rivers, beaches covered in trash. But what if that's only half the truth? What if plastic pollutes long before it ever reaches your hands? Before the packaging, before the bottle, even before the plastic itself is made. Deep in the ground, in refineries and pipelines, in communities forgotten by the world, plastic is already doing damage. And the people who suffer the most aren't the ones using it. They're the ones living near where it begins. This is the side of plastic pollution no one talks about. And once you see it, you'll never look at plastic the same way again. Most people don't realize this, but plastic is made from the same stuff that fuels your car. Oil, natural gas, fossil fuels. Over 99% of plastic comes from them. That's where the pollution really begins. It starts with drilling, fracking, digging deep into the earth. These processes tear up natural landscapes. They pollute groundwater. They release methane into the air. Fracking, especially, is a dirty business. It uses toxic chemicals to break rocks underground. And sometimes those chemicals leak into drinking water. Communities near drilling sites often report headaches, rashes, even nosebleeds and cancer. But the plastic industry doesn't talk about that. They want you to see a clean, shiny product, not the destruction that came before it. From the very first step, plastic leaves a scar on the planet. Now imagine living next door to a plastic plant. Not the kind that makes bottles, the kind that makes the raw materials. Welcome to Cancer Alley, a stretch of land along the Mississippi River in Louisiana. Home to more than 150 petrochemical facilities. And home to thousands of people, mostly black, low-income families, who suffer the consequences. Toxic air, poisoned water, dangerous levels of cancer and asthma. The air smells like chemicals. Children breathe it every day. People die younger and no one's held accountable. They didn't choose this. They didn't ask to live near oil refineries and gas plants. But the industry built there anyway. Why? Because poor communities can't fight back. Because environmental racism is real. And all this destruction just to make plastic pellets. The same kind that end up in toys, bags, and packaging. Cheap for us, deadly for them. This is the human cost behind plastic. And it starts before a single product is ever made. Once the oil and gas are pulled from the ground, they head to massive refineries. This is where fossil fuels become plastic. The process is called cracking. No, not breaking something in half. It means heating up fossil fuels until they become new chemicals. The most important one, ethylene, is the building block for most plastics. But cracking doesn't come without consequences. These plants release toxic gases into the air. Benzene, toluene, formaldehyde, chemicals linked to cancer, birth defects, and nerve damage. And it's not just the air. They dump wastewater into rivers. They leak chemicals into soil. The carbon footprint, enormous. Some refineries produce more emissions than entire cities. And let's not forget the workers. Many are exposed to deadly substances every day, with little protection and even less transparency. All of this just to create the raw material for plastic. Before it's molded, before it's shipped, before it ever touches your hand, the damage is already done. Once those plastic chemicals are made, they don't stay in one place. They travel by pipelines, by trains, by trucks across the country. And every mile they move, the risk of pollution grows. Let's start with pipelines. They're built underground to carry oil, gas, and chemicals. But they leak. In the US alone, thousands of pipeline spills happen each year. Some leak into rivers. Others explode, destroying everything nearby. Then there are the trains. They carry flammable chemicals in huge tanks. Derailments are rare but deadly. Just one accident can release toxic fumes into the air. And if it happens near a town, people might have to evacuate or live with permanent damage. Trucks aren't any safer. They're constantly on highways, often under poor regulation. One crash, and it's a disaster waiting to happen. And all of this movement is not for gasoline, not for fuel. It's just to deliver the ingredients for plastic. Before it even becomes a bag, a cup, or a package. Behind every plastic item is a dirty journey no one sees. Big oil companies don't just sell fuel. They also control most of the plastic industry. Companies like Shell, ExxonMobil, Dow Chemical, these giants make billions from plastic production. And they're planning to make even more. As the world talks about cutting fossil fuels, these companies are shifting to plastic. Because plastic means profit. They're building new factories, expanding pipelines, and lobbying politicians to support their plans. But with growth comes more pollution, more toxic waste, more harm to communities. These companies spend millions on marketing. They promote plastic as safe and recyclable. But the truth is far darker. Behind their glossy ads is a reality of environmental destruction. Air filled with chemicals, rivers poisoned by waste. And when people speak out, these corporations fight back. Using legal teams and influence, they protect their profits at the planet's expense. The plastic industry's pollution isn't spread evenly. It targets poor and minority communities. Why? Because these neighborhoods have less power to fight back. This is called environmental racism, a harsh reality where people of color suffer more pollution. They live near refineries and chemical plants. They breathe toxic air day after day. They drink water contaminated by industrial waste. Health problems rise: asthma, cancer, birth defects. Yet their voices are often ignored. Communities like those in Cancer Alley face constant danger. But few see their struggle on the news. It's not an accident. It's a system built to protect profits. While plastic flows freely to the rest of the world, the price is paid in pain and illness by the few. This injustice must end. Plastic isn't just trash on the ground. It's also a huge climate problem. Making plastic releases tons of greenhouse gases. From drilling to refining to manufacturing, each step adds carbon to the atmosphere. The plastic industry's carbon footprint rivals that of some countries. And it's growing fast. As more plastic is made, more emissions are released. That means more heat trapped in our planet's atmosphere, more wildfires, more hurricanes, more droughts, all because of the stuff we throw away without thinking. It's not just a waste problem. It's a climate crisis. If we want to fight global warming, we have to look at plastic's full impact. Stopping plastic pollution means cutting emissions too. The plastic industry works hard to protect its image. It wants you to believe plastic is clean, safe, and recyclable. This is called greenwashing, when companies use eco-friendly language to hide the truth. They show pictures of smiling workers in spotless factories. They promise recycling will solve the problem. They use words like biodegradable and eco-friendly. But behind those words, the reality is toxic air, poisoned water, and piles of waste. Recycling doesn't erase the damage done before plastic is made. It doesn't stop the drilling, the refining, or the emissions. Most bioplastics aren't as green as they sound. They often still require fossil fuels. And they can still harm wildlife and the environment. Greenwashing works because most people never see where plastic comes from. They only see it in stores, clean, shiny, and ready to use. But the truth? It's messy, it's dangerous, and it's costing us the planet. The damage from plastic starts long before it's made. That means the solution has to start there too. We can't just clean up beaches. We have to cut plastic production at its source. That means stronger laws to limit emissions, stricter rules for drilling and refining, and holding corporations accountable for the harm they cause. Governments must invest in real alternatives. Materials that don't rely on fossil fuels. Packaging that can truly break down without pollution. But it's not just up to leaders. It's up to us. We can choose products with less packaging. Support companies that use sustainable materials. And demand transparency from the brands we buy from. We can share the truth. Because once people understand the hidden cost of plastic, it's hard to ignore. Change starts with awareness. And awareness starts with voices like yours. So now you know the truth. Plastic pollution doesn't just start in the ocean. It begins in the ground, in the air, in the communities forced to live with its cost. The bottle you drink from tomorrow might already have poisoned a river today. The bag you carry might have filled the lungs of a child miles away. But now you have the power to see past the lies, to see the greenwashing, to see the destruction hidden behind shiny packaging. The question is, what will you do with it? Because this is our planet, our responsibility, and our chance to turn things around. If this message opened your eyes, if you care about what comes next, don't just scroll past. Share this video, educate one more person, and most of all, subscribe for more stories that matter. Because this fight is far from over, and we'll need voices like yours in the days to come. Thank you for watching. Stay aware, stay strong, stay committed. We are Let's Talk Plastics, and this is just the beginning.